Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and today I wanted to make a video where I show what to do when an enemy puts a bubble on the overtime. This is something that you commonly see inside trials, because trials, if you put a bubble on the overtime, it's an extremely strong strategy because bubbles are so hard to deal with and so hard to handle, and I've noticed that even some of the best players don't know how to handle the bubble on the overtime. So I'm going to have my friend Jace here put down a bubble, and I'm going to demonstrate the best ways to get rid of a bubble on the overtime. Go ahead. He puts down a bubble, and he might even have swap over to Saint 14 or have Saint 14 on, which makes it especially tough because going inside the bubble is going to blind you. And so it's important to know first that shooting it does absolutely nothing. It's immune. Your grenades and your melee will do some damage, but it's so small that it's really not worth your time at all. What you're going to need to do if you want to counter bubble is you have 3 teammates, yourself and 2 others. You're going to have to use a super. If you don't have a super, you're almost certainly not going to be able to handle the bubble. Pushing up and throwing grenades inside of it really isn't that effective. It only takes a short amount of time to fully capture the overtime, so you're going to have to use a super. But with that being said, not all supers are very effective at destroying a bubble, so I'm going to cover which ones are the best and which ones are the absolute worst. So that way, if you see someone put a bubble in the overtime, you know whether or not, is it worth it to really use my super, or am I just going to get completely destroyed? So I'm going to start off with Hammer and Middle Tree Hammer. Go ahead and put a new bubble down so that we got a fresh timer on it. He puts the bubble down. Middle Tree Hammer is pretty effective at getting rid of a bubble. I'm going to use this cross the ground attack. This will not only destroy the bubble, but be able to kill him inside of it after it's fully used. Now, obviously, while I'm slamming this, he could easily throw a suppression grenade, so be cautious of that. You don't want to just stand in the exact same spot. You may need to rotate around a little bit. And often, sometimes you might even need to pop 2 supers. If it was like round 9 and you had 2 supers, you'd almost need to pop 2 supers in order to handle the bubble. So, Middle Tree Hammer can handle it, but it's a little bit time consuming and can be risky because you can get suppressed. Go to Bottom Tree Hammer. Can also handle this. For this, you'd probably want to, throw hammers at a little bit more distance, a little more range, so that way you can make sure to not get hit by those suppression grenades. I could even go back further than this. While sitting inside my sunspot, I can just throw a ton of hammers, and I'll be able to not only destroy the bubble, but kill him inside the bubble once this finally pops here. See that? So any of his teammates chilling on the overtime are going to get killed by the sunspot or by the hammer explosion. So that works really well. But if you're using Top Tree Hammer, which is really popular, because a lot of people like Shoulder Charge or Sun Charge, this one is not going to be able to handle the bubble. It's not only going to take you way too long to kill the bubble, it's just not going to happen within a timely manner. And as you can see there, even after I've thrown all of my hammers, he's still alive inside the bubble, and he's going to capture the overtime. Not to mention, the likelihood of him being able to suppress you is really high. So I would highly recommend, if you are rocking a Top Tree Hammer, to just save your super if you can for the next round, or use 2 supers to attack the bubble. That would be the best option. Move on to the next tree. We got Bottom Tree Striker. Bottom Tree Striker is a tough one. I like using this a lot, and if I were to have to go up against a bubble, I would definitely be scared. I'd be shaking my boots a little bit. My strategy would be to go in with a slam, try to hit him with a 1-2 as much as I can. I'm going to get shotgun and meleeed a bunch in there, though. The likelihood of winning that consistently is going to be pretty low, so that's your best bet, though, if you're going to use it. If you have to use it, that is. Missile is a good option, though. Missile is a great option. So you can just pop your super, land right in the bubble, kills him, destroys the bubble. That's like a checkmate option. If you are rocking a missile, going against that is going to be great. The next one is Top Tree Striker. This one, similar to the other one, is a little bit harder to use, but obviously if you get a little more height, you have a perk called Terminal Velocity. So if you can, the next week's Trials map is going to be Widow's Court. Get some height. You might be able to hurt him a lot more in that bubble there and do something like that. Top Tree Striker is pretty good. Not a lot of people run it, though, because Bottom Tree has a lot better mid-game, but that Terminal Velocity perk is pretty nasty. Getting more height equals more damage from your smash. On to the next tree. This one's actually crazy and really fun. If you use Middle Tree Sentinel, you can actually turn his entire bubble into a Void Detonator. You would do something like this, push up, pop your bubble, use a Void Detonator. Now, the explosions that are happening inside, they're actually hurting him, and obviously you have the shield. So you're actually going to kill him inside his own bubble and destroy the bubble at the same time because he dies. And he dies by the fact that the Void Detonators keep blowing him up inside his own bubble, which is pretty cool and a pretty unique way of handling this bubble on the overtime strat. Bottom Tree, honestly, I don't even think there's anything you can do with Bottom Tree. If you were to rock a Bottom Tree, like, you're kind of just sunk. Like, if he puts this down, you can throw as many shields you want at it. It's not going to do nearly enough damage. So if you're going to Be on a bottom tree, you're going to have to pop 2 supers if anything. All these shields being thrown at him do almost nothing. Not to mention I'm just a sitting duck as I'm throwing all these shields. So bottom tree is definitely a yikes when trying to fight against the bubble. Now top tree. Obviously using the sentinel is going to be tough in here. You could alternatively bubble the bubble if you go ahead and put yours down.
Yeah, I suppressed myself.
But again, if he's already there before you are, then your attempt to bubble the bubble is going to lead with you getting blind. And it's pretty much just an RNG battle when he has the lead because he's already sitting there ready to go. So if you do get bubble the bubble, make sure you strafe in and out of your bubble to try and regain your armor of light. But that is going to be a tough battle. Not one that I would want to take too often. So there you have it. That's everything for Titan. I'm going to cover Hunter and Warlock now. Alright, chat. I'm just trying to finish up this video. So now I'm on Warlock. I'm going to bust out my well here. And honestly, if I was using the well against the bubble, I would be very scared. If he bubbles right on top of the overtime, go ahead. Pop your bubble. If he bubbles right on top of the overtime, this is going to be big trouble. This is going to be very tough to handle because the best thing I could do is pop my well near it and try and fight him as he comes out of the bubble. We can get into a shotgun battle or melee battle. I don't have a shotgun, but this is going to be kind of a cluster fuck here a little bit. So the bubble definitely has the advantage in that point. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even put my well down there, but if that's the only option, then you do what you got to do. Put the well down near the bubble and go at it. Next I'm going to go over is Top Tree Dawnblade, which is again going to be a super that I would not go against a bubble with. Throwing all my Dawnblades doesn't even kill the bubble. So you can throw as much as you want. The bubble doesn't even get destroyed, and he just sits there laughing and captures the overtime pretty effortlessly. So Dawnblade versus bubble is a very bad fight. I'll pop both trees just to show you. It's not it. Barely even hurts the bubble. The bubble's a little bit damaged, but not enough that it matters. So if you're going to have a Dawnblade, or if you need to pop a Dawnblade, you're going to have to pop 2 supers. If you don't have 2 supers, well, best of luck to you. Nova Bomb is insanely good at fighting a bubble, though. Top tree and bottom tree both one hit kill the bubble. And kill him, the after effects there, kill him inside, or after the bubble's gone, kills him. And this one, the bottom tree will also have a little residual, which will also handle him off the bubble pretty easily. Pops his bubble. No, residual kills him there. Unfortunately, though, Nova Warp isn't very good. Although a lot of people really aren't rocking Nova Warp, but if you still like it, if someone puts a bubble in the overtime, you might as well not even try. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. This was probably the worst fight you could fight right here. All right, now the next one I'm gonna go over is Nova Warp, which is really, really bad against the bubble. We had a little mishap there, and Jace accidentally jumped out, so it looked like it killed him. But the reality is, this does not kill a bubble at all. It barely even damages the bubble. You charge it up, explode as much as you want. And unfortunately, the bubble is just too strong for this. You can hurt it pretty bad, though. You might even be able to finish it if you were to have all of your teammates throw grenades on it. But it's just not quite enough to consistently handle it. And not to mention, while you're doing that, he could easily shotgun melee you and suppress you. And your teammates could shoot you. So you're in a lot of trouble. And he's capturing the overtime. So you have everything working against you. I would highly recommend not to pop a Nova Warp against a bubble. It's not going to work out well for you. The next one up is Chaos Reach. Now, the Chaos Reach will fully kill the bubble, but it won't kill the Guardian inside of it. Unless you have Geomags. Here we go. I use my super. And it destroys it perfectly. The exact right amount of damage. I think it's like 14,500 damage, roughly. Maybe 15,000. But it doesn't kill him at all. Unless you have Geomags on, which would be pretty fire. But most people really aren't using this tree. If you are using Top Tree, which is a common tree to be used, you're in a lot of trouble. I don't think this even kills it. And if it does, you're going to get shotgun meleeed pretty hard from the Titan or shot by his teammates. The time it takes to destroy this bubble alone, he's going to have the overtime captured by the time you're done. This is not it. If you have to pop a storm against the bubble, you're in a lot of trouble. You're going to need 2 Stormcallers. Alright, bottom tree now. I'm going to use my landfall to damage it. Oh, that barely hurt it, but the time it takes to bake this bubble is so long, and the chances of you getting shot by all those teammates are just so high. But this is really not it. I think I could kill the bubble just before. Yep, I killed the bubble and I can kill him, but that amount of time that's stressful. Being able to pull that off is going to be very hard, especially because I almost have to stand perfectly still or be able to strafe. And if I take my focus off the bubble at all, it won't be destroyed. So if you have to use a storm, you're in some serious trouble. But Chaos Reach, not too bad, but you don't really see that too often. So that's all 3 trees of Warlock. I'm going to go over to Hunter now. So to demonstrate, I'd probably try to come around a corner blind, get my advantage, jump up. Once jump up in the air, get out of the bubble. Hopefully he doesn't refresh his Armor of Light. That's my goal. As I push him out though, I'm refreshing his Armor of Light. Gotta be careful. That's a really tough fight though. I'm blind. He has the advantage big time. Honestly, I've taken on a good amount of bubbles in my Spectral. I don't know how I did it, but if you try it, good luck to you. I wouldn't recommend doing it alone though. You might need to pop 2 supers. Tether is one of the worst supers to possibly fight a bubble with though. It doesn't kill the bubble, and does 1,000 damage. And the worst part is that top tree tether and bottom tree tether do the same amount, even though the bottom tree shoots 6 tethers. And it takes about 14 to 15,000 damage to kill a bubble. So shooting a tether at it is actually like extremely unproductive, extremely unhelpful. If you are going to shoot a tether at it, honestly, I think the best thing to do would probably try to be to go in the bubble, pop the tether, but again, going in the bubble is a bad idea, like 10 times out of 10. So if that's all you're left with, then that's all you're left with, but I would not recommend it. Go ahead and pop a new bubble. As I shoot bottom tree tether, you'll see it does 1,000 damage, so I can do 6,000 damage, but I would need 9,000 more, so if I absolutely have to shoot all 6 of my quiver tethers at it, then so be it, but that's not going to kill the bubble, and I would need a second super in order to finish it off. Grenades aren't going to help. So unfortunately, the void tree is pretty shut out by a bubble. Hardcore. I'm going to throw a blade barrage at it. It used to be that blade barrage threw 2 sets of blades, which it still does, but the first set would kill the bubble and the second set would kill the Titan inside of it. I believe now it just throws both and that just kills the bubble alone, leaving the Guardian inside perfectly full health. So that's a good way of ending the bubble though. It's almost instantaneous, so that way he can't capture the overtime. You're probably not going to get suppressed out of that, and you know, it almost instantly gets rid of the bubble. So that's a strong counter for sure. I'll pop a bottom tree golden gun. That's almost exactly 15,000 damage, as you can see there. And that's just enough to kill the bubble, but doesn't kill the Titan inside of it. So again, another strong counter that's also pretty fast. There's a top tree golden gun. That's enough to kill the bubble and kill him, so that's a really good counter. So the Solar Hunter has like all the good counters, whereas the Void has like none of the good counters. Arc has a really good counter as well though with the combo. So I'll cover this. All 3 trees can do a combo. So basically you just do light attack, heavy attack. And you'll kill the Titan inside the bubble. That's your goal, is to actually go inside the bubble. In fact, this might even be one of the only supers where you do want to go inside the bubble. So there you have it. There's all the strategies that you could possibly utilize, Titan, Hunter, and Warlock, for how to fight against a bubble on the overtime. Hopefully, this next weekend of Trials will be Widow's Court, so if you need to utilize these strategies, hope you have all the information you need here, and you probably will see it because you'll see a lot of 3-peeking this weekend. There'll probably be some slow play with Revoker, etc., etc., and once in a while you'll see a Saint 14 Titan try to run up and bubble that overtime, and hopefully you'll be able to handle it. Hopefully this gave you the info you need. And don't be a dummy and shoot the bubble or try to throw grenades at it, because it really doesn't do much. But if you do get a crazy clip of shutting down a bubble without using super at all, definitely tag me on Twitter, because I love to see that, and I love to see new strategies utilized, and maybe there is some other ways out there of handling it. But that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Later.